All right, guys. Today we're here with John and Alex Sosa. Alex is a rock star client of ours. I'll give him a chance to introduce himself and talk about his background as well as how many deals he's closed to date. But yeah, Alex, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to film one of these. I watch them all the time, and I get so much from them. And with this, I really wanted to share kind of what some of my successes and struggles have been thus far. So I'm originally from Southern California, Los Angeles. I joined the military right after high school, and I served about 21 years. Along the last 2 years of that, I really started looking into, really started just kind of looking at the entrepreneurial side of myself and what type of business I really wanted to look at. I did an internship at a barbershop to learn more about not only the barbershop, but just working, having a mentor underneath that owner of the barbershop. And I learned a lot from there. I learned a lot about the services industry, barbershops being one of them. But what I gained the most out of that was seeing the ATM guy come in and out of the store. And I'm like, wow, what is that? So I started looking into ATMs, and that's when I came across Paul and the ATM Together team. And it seemed like something I really wanted to get into. I have 4 kids. I've been married almost 20 years now. And one of the things that concerned me just right off the bat was just carrying that much money around. And I was in San Diego in downtown, and I was looking around. I was like, maybe this isn't the right time for me to do this. I did have a great conversation with Paul Alex. He set aside some time to talk to me, and he did let me know, hey, wait, just to the new year, 2023, I've got a new program coming out. It's going to solve all those problems and all those concerns that you have. And sure enough, the merchant automation opportunity came up, and it was perfect. So I did sign up in March, and I was still so after I left the Marine Corps, I joined a Fortune 500 company, and I was managing a team of examiners. And so I was in corporate America working 9 to 5 from home, and it was great for a while. But with any salaried position, when you overperform, they tend to throw more on you, more and more work. And I started to lose the time that I really wanted for myself, for my family. And especially when the summer came around, my kids were home and I was home, but I wasn't present. So that's when I decided, you know what, this job has allowed me to save up some money. I have enough cushion to just leave the 9 to 5 and go all in on my merchant services business. And I made the decision, and I did it. And so in August 4th is when I left LPL Financial. And what I did was I started prospecting during the week. I was prospecting previously on the weekends, but that's the hardest time to find the owner, to find a decision maker. So I decided I have to do this Monday through Friday. And sure enough, I went to a auto tint shop right off the bat. And I went as a customer. I wanted to get my windows tinted. John had talked about going in there and building a relationship. And this individual, we just clicked, really. Like, you're gonna find people that you just click with. And he tinted the windows, and I left my information. I said, hey, I see you just use a basic terminal. It was a Clover. And I said, I can save you a lot of money on this. I run my own business. I'm the decision maker in the business, and I'll give you a great deal. You hook me up with my tint, I'll give you a great deal. And a week later, he called me and said, hey, can you come next week? It was a Friday. Can you come next week? Because I'm interested. And I went down there, and we signed the contract and everything, got him approved. And sure enough, he's been my first client, and I visit him every 2 weeks. And John, you're gonna like this. I bring him tacos every 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
We have lunch. And we talk. He's a very, very smart investor, and he's become kind of a mentor. We've helped each other out with different types of information. So that was my first deal. From there, I was like, this is great. This is easy, right? I got my first one off the bat. I posted about it. And I even said, this is not a typical situation where you get your first one off the bat. I knew that. But what I didn't expect was to go a hard month with just no's, no interests. And it was very demoralizing. And I was like, man, did I make the right decision? I wonder if my old manager will still take me back, at my old 9 to 5. All those thoughts went through my head. But you got to stay strong. You got to believe in the system. Take the training. In those trainings, every time I listen to the trainings, I get a lot from it. So with that, I stayed, down the path of just going out there and building relationships. I stopped trying to sell, and I just went out there and made friends. And along the way, what I did was I just asked them about their business. I asked them, hey, what brought you to this city? What made you think about this business and opening this business? What do you enjoy about it? And then I started down the path of, is there anything that you feel like that that could really boost your business? And in that talk, they would talk about, oh, this, that, Well, I said, one of the other ways is processing. I said, I do run a merchant service business. Processing is going to eat 3 to 3.5% of your volume right off the bat. And they were interested, and and I will say this: during that first month, I came out giving away too much too soon. And what I mean by that is, I would offer them a free terminal, no contract. I would give them. It was like I was shoving an advertisement right in their face, and they felt like they were being sold to. And the deal was so good that I think they felt that there's something fishy about it, that it was too good to be true. So I changed that approach because it almost did feel a little desperate. And at the time, I was kind of desperate. I wasn't getting any feedback from any of the businesses. They were not interested. So I changed my approach and just kind of went into it, learning about them. And then just, oh, by the way, I would let them know I'm also a small business owner in this area, and I live here, and this is my community. And so I built a lot of relationships. And those are where this latest success that I've had, they've all come from those relationships that I've started weeks ago, almost a month ago. And I just visit them and, pop in, say hi. And then they reach back. They text me, hey, are you available? I've got time. I want to hear more about this. And so that's kind of where we're at. With regards to booked appointments, I did sign up, and I did do a series of the 5 booked appointments. And they came right away. I mean, within the first week, I had a booked appointment come my way, had the info sheet, reached out to John. We took a look. It looked easy enough. When we went out there, when I went out there, it was a husband and wife auto shop, and the wife ran the finances. She ran all those decisions, and she was very skeptical about everything I was talking about. Again, I went out too fast, too strong, and it just turned them off. And they're like, thanks for the information. We'll get back to you. And that was my first one. And the follow-on ones, I started to tweak little things here and there. But for some of them, there were just no interest. One of them, it was a Chinese restaurant, and there was a language barrier there. I could not, over the phone, I couldn't, and I called to just schedule the appointment, and I could not get through and make sense to them as to who I was, and that they had already shown interest. And my follow-up call, they were like, oh, there's no Mr. Walk here. And they were, they kind of just ignored the calls. I have yet to drive to that location, but it's still on my list. All of the leads have shown some interest, and so I am going to follow up with these. Long story short, with all of those, I've been able to go in, give them my information, and those are all ongoing relationships that I'm continuing to build. And I'm hoping, and actually I'm closing the original auto shop this Friday with Angel and Jenny, and they want to have me back. They've looked around, they've researched, and they did see the value that I brought. It just takes some time because they were skeptical. I think they've been burnt in the past. So that's kind of where we're at with regards to the 5 book calls. They're still great leads, and I'm still going to pursue them.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for that. That was very, very comprehensive. I think the thing that stood out to me was really your approach to building relationships and, like you say, make friends, or instead of trying to sell somebody or kind of overwhelm somebody with, oh, here's what I can do for you, and here, all these other stuff. It's like, obviously you're trying to sell them something, and so that approach is really, really healthy. I think all the pattern I'm seeing from all these interviews is that most people who have success, right, closing deals and actually building relationships and scaling their merchant services business have a similar approach, which is, hey, let me just go out to my local community, drive around, make some friends and people I usually do business with anyways, because I'm buying their services or their products. How can I just start that conversation? So they at least have that seed in their mind. Okay, this person can help me with something. It might not be that week, might not be that month even, but maybe down the road that phone call comes, or the next time you walk in, that conversation happens, right? So that's great. If somebody's watching this right now, I guess looking at this and looking at, okay, I'm not a people person. I'm not a sales person. Maybe they're more introverted, a little shy. What would you say to that person that's watching this and saying, okay, how do I go out there? And I'm not Alex, right? I'm not John, but how do I go out there and start forming some of these relationships? Any kind of like just very simple beginner steps that somebody could take?
Yeah. So start with locations that you already visit. You see them, they see you. If you've been a customer or if you're going in as a customer, take a look at the equipment they use. Just ask them, hey, are you paying processing? And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, of course. We say, nowadays you don't have to. So, here's my information. If you reach out. And what I've done, what actually I just implemented this week, is I invested in a scheduler, an online scheduler. And in that scheduler, you can tell them a little bit about yourself, a little quick bio. You could tell them about your business and your why you're doing this. And with that, you don't have to waste their time while you're there and try to explain this, because they already feel like they're being sold to.
Yeah.
But with the scheduler, if they scan the code or you send them the link via their phone number, they can read about that. They can book a call, and then now they're selecting the time and you're going to be there on the call with them. So I'm hoping that I just need to get more. I got to advertise that more and get it out. I just finished it up. I really like how it came out, and I can share that with everyone. So, actually, John, you spoke to her yesterday. She was on the call. Pepsi is we're going to have a call. She used the scheduler and scheduled some time with me just to talk about my techniques, my strategies.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm going to be talking to her, but she scheduled and used the scheduler. And so I'm going to ask her how she enjoyed that, how she liked it, the interaction with that, and we'll get some of that. But yeah, that's really it, Aaron. Start with places that you frequent. If you have family that have a business, go in there and pitch to them. It may feel weird, but weird is better than scary. So start there. And then at the end of the day, it's just repetitions. Just go in. Like John has mentioned, you can hit a place and they may say no initially. It's no at that time. Maybe they're busy. Just come back next month. Chances are they're gonna not really remember, or they'll have a better opportunity to listen this time. So don't scratch it off the list. Leave it on the list and just try again. Aaron, I did want to add one more thing. So John had mentioned something that really struck home with me, and that was to really get in the mindset of you're out there to help these businesses. So I had to shift my mindset from going out there and selling something, which at the point I wasn't. I was not charging them anything for anything, or I was giving away the equipment. I was covering the monthly fee. So I wasn't selling anything. So I changed my mentality, and I wake up every morning and I say to myself, that I'm not going out there to sell to people. I'm going out there to help people. So that has really helped me, because when you do that, you really strike an internal nerve to continue to find what those objections are and really help them realize that you're there to help. So
yeah, that's huge. John, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so that is key, and it's really about mindset. And when people come into this industry or anything brand new, it's kind of like I was you remember boot camp, Alex. You're like when you sign up for the military, they're like, man, it's going to be great. You're going to travel the world. The recruiter's like, it's going to be awesome. You're going to travel the world. Everything's going to be great. Okay, sign me up. Once you get on the bus and you're shipped to your boot camp, the minute you get to the boot camp and they open the door, they get on there and they're like, "You mother effer, you are mine for the next 2 months, and I'm gonna beat your boom." And you're just like, "Oh shit, what did I get myself into?"
Right.
And that can be the same thing with this industry. When people start saying no to you, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is harder than I thought." You know, but the key is to persist through that, and it gets easier. It gets easier and it gets easier. And at the end of the day, when we're done with boot camp and you're graduating, the same people that were on your butt are now laughing and hugging and just like, man, you made it, you pushed through. That's the same thing with this industry. You got to come in, you got to learn, you got to push through the nose. You got to keep persisting, even when you have the bad days and the bad weeks. You just got to keep and having that mindset that, look, you're coming from a position of strength because you are here to help them. Okay.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're here to help them. And what I always say, the simple formula is their monthly fees, we're going to eliminate times 12 times 3. Okay. So if somebody's doing 50,000 a month, they're paying $1,500 a month times 12. That's $18,000 a year times 3, $54,000. That's the magic number. I could say, Alex, I'm trying to put $54,000
Yeah.
back into your pocket. That's all
Yeah.
I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's for them. I'm not even thinking about my residual, what I'm going to make. That whatever it is, that'll be what it is. I'm focused on their 54,000 and what they're going to save, and how happy they're going to be. So
yeah, John, what I do is I actually use the number 4, because I have 4 kids, and a few of them are going to go to college. A couple of them may join the military, but a 4-year college degree is a great selling point. So I use 4 as my factor. And then the other thing I do, and I tell them, hey, every 4 years, I said, not only are you going to save this, but in 4 years, I'm going to switch your equipment out for you. I'm going to make sure you have the latest and greatest equipment. At the end of the day, I'm looking at businesses that use basic terminals. It's $200 to $300 out of my pocket. What they've brought me is so much more, and it just helps that relationship, and it really puts a light at the end of the tunnel saying, hey, in 4 years, I'm going to have a brand new machine. Some of these places I go into, their machines are on their last leg. I don't even know how long they've had them, but they're falling apart. And all I got to do is show them. And here's a great tip. Get yourself a Valor for display. Get yourself a Deja Vu P1 for display. Get yourself a Valor Rocket for display. Take those, because until they see something, they may not believe that what you have to offer. So when they see the equipment, they're like, oh, put it in their hands, and they're looking at it, and it's just great to have that tactile element for them to really say, this is what I'm getting. And they can see themselves, just like a car. You could tell them about a car, but until they see it, they sit in it, it's not real to them.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, and it's cool to see that Alex, he actually stopped by our office when he was in California. So, and this was at the beginning, was it in March or April?
It was it was April. It was April. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was still like the program was still brand new. We're like, oh, okay, cool, man, he's here, and and it was like, okay, exciting to see where he's grown from then to now, where it's kind of like somebody that's hitting the axe again. You see that cartoon where the guy's hitting the axe and he quits, and he's got one more or 2 hits to go before he breaks through. And for Alex to go from that when he started to where he is now, where he's broken through and he sees the light at the end of the tunnel, and then now every deal is going to become easier and easier to sign. And like for me and my partner Robert, like we'll go in and talk to business owners and talk about a lot of everything, and then just say, okay, here, just sign the application. We're going to save you a ton of money. we didn't even discuss, we didn't do a proposal. The rapport, the more rapport you build up, the easier the sale, the close will be. Okay. So it's kind of like yeah, so you could, not to say it's like, yeah, you build the more rapport, the close, they're gonna have less questions at the close, and it will be easier to sign that account up.
Yeah, so that's great. So, going back to what I originally set out, just giving too much information, I don't even tell them that there's no monthly fee. I wait for that question because that's looming in the back of their head. So I just tell them about the benefits about the cash discount program. And as I mentioned in some of my posts, I have taken the approach, when I see that there's hesitation with businesses that don't want to really push the entire processing fees onto the client. I said, hey, we have a great structure here where you're actually able to adjust that percentage. So you can, instead of raising prices over time or a way to beat inflation, just hand off a percentage point and processing over to your clients. And, and then the next 6 months or a year, hand off another 0.5% and another 0.5%. This structure is going to be the norm in the next, 5, 10, 15 years. Everyone's going to be paying their processing fees. It's just going that way. And then that usually wakes them up to say, you know what, I could do that. And I have one of the deals that I closed that she runs an art studio where they do, instead of painting and drinking wine, they do sculptures and wine. So she didn't want to hand off any fees, but she likes that she has that option. So she's going to gauge her business because she thinks that maybe her clients will not like it, but she's going to gauge it and she's going to text me and say, hey, I want to go ahead and adjust it to 1%. That knocks off a whole percentage point that she needs to worry about. Now she's saving a 1%, but eventually getting her to the full 3%. And just on top of that, for all the going back to Aaron's question about tips, I have been closing deals at 3.25 and 3.5. Those have been my rates. I haven't gone any higher. Why? Because at the end of the day, I want the experience of the sale, and I want to be able to. And I do offer a higher rate initially, but I use it as a leverage point. I don't just shut down the deal because they don't want to go for the 3.75 or the 4%. I use it as a bargaining tool, and just to get those repetitions. And sure enough, there's a number that they're going to be happy with.
Cool, guys. Well, that was an avalanche of value there. So I appreciate both of you just kind of sharing all these insights and gems here. Any parting words before we wrap this thing up? Any last words of encouragement or advice to somebody watching this?
Yeah, I would just say, hang in there, persist, and just go out there and use every day and every no as a learning opportunity. Think back and say, hey, where do I feel this opportunity or this conversation turned? And then really jot that down. But don't give up on it. Go back in the next month and see where they're at. Yeah, those are my tips of advice. I will say I have a referral program as well. John mentioned this. So any deal that I close, I just closed Linex of Round Rock, and they do bed liners, and that's $100,000 a month in processing accounts. We got to be pretty good friends, and he called me and he said, hey, can you service other Linexes in other states? I said, absolutely.
Wow.
And so he's like, okay, I've got somebody in Washington, because they have a network of people. He got into the business through a friend that was also running a Linex, so they all talk. So what I will say is really stress a referral program. Tell them, hey, for every account that we can get signed up, I'll give you, you'll get $150. And at the end of the day, that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket from what you're going to get in return from these accounts.
Yep, absolutely. And they like to share, because if you built a good rapport with them and they like the service that you're giving them, they want to share that with their other friends as well. So yeah. And also I use it as negotiating as well. Like, if they say we're at 3.5 and they want 3.25, I say, okay, I'm going to give in to you, but you're going to have to give me a referral. and just joke around like that with them, and then hold them to it. Hey, did you give me that referral yet? Okay, I'm still waiting, and so forth. But yeah, the referrals going back, so that's why I like to install my own equipment, because when I go back and I install it, that's when I get the chance to talk to them and say, yeah, by the way, do you have any cousins that own businesses? Do you have any friends that own businesses? You can refer them to me. We can give you a referral fee and so forth. So yeah, and after a while, people will get to know you're going to start getting deals because people are giving you referrals, and those are a lot easier than the cold calls. But the cold calls got you to the point to where now you're getting referrals.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Cool,
Cool, guys.
Yep. Just to say that, yeah, Alex is a great example of the journey pushing through, and everybody should follow in Alex's footsteps. Not give up. Just continue to push through. Every time. And I know when Alex called me, he's like, man, I'm having a bad week. And, I'm telling him, just push on through. It's part of the deal. You just got to keep learning. And here we are today. So I see a lot of great success coming from Alex. And he's a future leader of a merchant automation team.
For sure. I can definitely see that. And it's just important to give yourself some grace, because ultimately it's like we all want to go out there and close deals, but like anything else in life, there's a process for getting your reps in, for getting your practice, for it's getting better and better through experience and through what you're learning on the actual job, quote unquote. And it's like, yeah, we all want to, scale the business, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and that's okay. But we're here for you every step of the way. And, John, people like Alex, people like that, just are constantly providing value to the community. So we're not going anywhere. And so, as long as you put the work in, we'll definitely be right there with you. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And then we'll get this up in the Facebook group in the next week or two.
Awesome.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, John.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.